Close the door now, close the door.
Very good morning to everyone present here. It is indeed an honor and privilege for me to welcome all the guests and dignitaries to the prefatory session of the National Conference on Sustainable Trends and Practices in Management, Commerce, Humanities and Social Sciences Research, organized by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata. On this delightful morning, I, Dr. Poorna Bhattacharya, cordially invite you all on behalf of the organizing committee to be a part of the enlightening academic sessions that we are about to witness in the course of the two-day conference. This will definitely be a learning time for all of us. Sustainability is the call of the hour when our Mother Earth is under the threat of annihilation. We assemble here today to dedicate our thoughts to the creation and preservation of a better future through sustainable research practices across multidisciplinary facets of life and learning. We are privileged to have with us Dr. S.C. Jaina and Mr. Shivaram G. Krishnan, who will enlighten us with their thoughts on sustainable trends and practices in academia and industry, thus setting the mood and creating the base that is Aadhaar, as our session is named, for our two-day conference. I now request Dr. S.P. Mahapatra, Principal, VIMS Kolkata, to kindly felicitate Dr. Jaina.
Projector light to go over.
Dr. Jaina has completed his Master's, his MPhil and PhD in Political Science from Utkal University and has an extensive experience in research and academics. He has been involved in several academic bodies at the national level.
Honorable Principal, S.P. Mahapatra, Honorable Guest, Shivaram Krishnaji, Miller Sarkar, Indrajit ji, all teachers, staffs and madams, and all students here. I am really privileged. This is my fourth visit to this place and to this hall also. So before COVID-19, I have visited 3 times. And after this COVID, this is my first visit in 2022. So I am extremely thankful to also Professor Mukherjee, Mukherjee and Director also. So we are always in touch. Anyway, so we will discuss on sustainable development and the conceptual analysis. And you have a very good speaker who has worked a lot in the field actually on this field of sustainability in commercial management, in associated with data, etc. Anyway, so we are in a crossroad. We are in a crossroad. Rich countries say we want economic growth, we want development in technology. And poor countries also, they are interested in economic growth and also in technological progress. But who will think of the sustainability? So I told you we are at a crossroad. So what to do? So I have certain suggestions. I have divided the paper into two parts. One is why this question? Sustainability. Why this question sustainability? And what actually is sustainable development, and then what to do. As a social scientist, this is my presentation to people. So in the beginning I tell you, we have learned two bad lessons. Bad lessons, and that is wrong lessons by the West. During industrial revolution in Europe, that means we learned a bad lesson that nature is a commodity. This is wrong. Nature is a commodity. You can enjoy. We are enjoying all commodities, so nature is a commodity. Number two, nature, prakriti, it is a commodity, just like any other thing. Number two, society consists of human beings alone and only and exclusively. That is also wrong. So these two lessons put us in a great trouble. Now we have, in the words of Stephen Hawking, we went long ahead in a long race, but now it is time to, we have to make a U-turn. This is scientists who is saying, wrong direction. In the wrong direction, we have gone a wrong way. Now we have to make a U-turn. So this is one thing, and I am telling you why this situation arises. Number one, unrestrained use of technology. Without any restrictions, we use technology like anything as in our God. And we could not fulfill our unsatiable desire. Desire is limitless, passion and desire, everything, to achieve everything. So, divert from morality, technology is a dangerous weapon in the hands of man to satisfy, all our passions and desires, and thereby endangering the nature. We saw unprecedented economic growth in 20th century. Value of goods and services produced each year worldwide has grown 24 since 1990. 1990 till date, 24 increase. The use of energy 30-fold, but it has increased to 30-fold. Then products of industry 50-fold. After Second World War, we saw largest areas of the world as underdeveloped or underdeveloped. The only path and aspire to reach development was the optimum production and industrialization. So that is the only solution that has been taught by the West. So humankind enjoyed or rejoiced with their achievements, but a heavy price has been paid, and we have to pay, heavy price has been paid for this. One or two are reading out. Within 25 years since 1950, 20% of forest disappeared. We achieved so many, we enjoyed like everything. We enjoyed everything, technology, provided so many things. But 20% of forest disappeared. 20% of land we lost due to salinity, then we can say waterlogging, desertification, etc. 36% of irrigated land was damaged. America itself lost 63% of its total forest area. 63% of its forest area. The plight of the tropical forest, particularly Amazonian forest, I will give you one example. The result of which, Mehinaku, a tribe was staying in the forest and was depending on the rivers for fishing, etc., lost entire livelihood. So where are they? No one can say. This is, I'm telling you one example of recent years. And when Tata established its factory in Jamshedpur, 1909 perhaps, 1909, maybe I may be wrong, but somewhere 1905 to 1909. At that time, those tribes who were migrated till date, there is, they are nowhere till date. So one deputy speaker from Legislative Council of Bihar at that time Bihar, undivided Bihar, told that the time will come, the tribals will extinct from this earth. Because all the natural areas are with the tribal people. So it will encroach the forest, etc., flora and fauna, etc., naturally there will be problem. Anyway, so there is a lot of report on this by Food and Agriculture Organization. In 1982, the first report came about the loss of tropical forests. In the report 1982, FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization at Rome, told that 11 million hectares are wasted or damaged per year. After 10 years, it was 17 million hectares. And you know about, the most of the areas are lost by the China. Every year, 1 million hectares. Anyway, for the first time, 9th World Forestry Congress, Mexico, 1958, the report came. And the report is, our collective future is at stake. Anyway, so with commercial reactors, nuclear radiation, etc., damaged cropland, Ukraine and Belarus, you know very well, Chernobyl issue. So radiation, depletion of ozone layer, pollution, ecological crisis became a gift of development. So the system of this deterioration or damage by the development we can see very clearly in rising arms race, in depletion of natural resources and pollution, toxic gases, noise and dust, trees disappear, living soils die. Every day in TV you will say, not good morning, save soil. Why this? At least for 100 days. That means we have damaged our soil itself. Khiti of this, so we are also destroying it. That means the renewable sources of energy is also damaged by, now it has become non-renewable. So what type of damage we have done, we are ourselves. So every year in Bangkok, 3,200 hectares of land are damaged. So anyway, water is not available. It is now crisis. We are purchasing water in the bottle because safe drinking water is already a dream. We can have water from anywhere. Still, Colonel Gaddafi, Libya, he went so deep with a motto in his mind that he will start a new river and that may continue for maximum 50 years. So benefits of development have been shared between rich and poor. Benefits of development I will share it between rich and poor. You might have studied perhaps a very good book. The title of the book is The Tiger, the Elephant and Cell Phone. The Tiger, the Elephant and Cell Phone by Shashi Tharoor. Very beautifully he writes. Very beautiful book. On the cover page of the book, please you see two persons are fighting with each other. Picture is there, front page, the picture, cover page. Two persons are fighting with each other to have a banana, but that is not a banana. That is the peel of the banana. And another person in the corner standing with banana, taking it. So he is the multinationals, and these are the poor people. In industrialized countries, in rich countries, in capitalist countries, in so-called, they also suffer from another type of poverty, particularly America and others. In one journal that is independent, published from United Kingdom. So in that journal, one article was written by Celia Hall, who is the medical editor, and she has written, death by suicide in men under 24 is increasing. Pregnancies in young teenage girls are continuing to rise, making government's health targets harder to achieve in England. In America also, the unwed mother and their child became a crisis for US. So, when second time Bill Clinton contested presidential election, his agenda was restoration of American family. So they are facing another type of poverty. So what we need harmony with nature or man-nature society balance. How can we achieve etc.? To achieve this, we have lost the quality. So here comes the question of quality of life. So the objective of a truly developed society should be achievement of permanent peace, happiness and fulfillment. But the present rate of development is temporary. It is temporary in nature. So here I will come to that means we have to think between two things, need and desire. We have to think in between need and desire. So Gandhi also arrived at the same conclusion during his time. Art provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. This is the quotation from Parallel. The book is Towards New Horizon. So there is urgent need to replace the present system, which is inhuman, hazardous, temporary, and not sustainable. So here I will come to the question of sustainability and what is sustainable development or what is true development. Sustainable meaning thereby the benefits enjoyed by this generation should also be enjoyed by future generations, and that is possible only through renewable resources. In Indian tradition, that means we always worship Khiti of the Panchama. So I will come to the concept. Development is the opposite of environment. Envelopment. I will finish. No problem. Development is the opposite of. I will finish. Development is the opposite of envelopment. That means confined. We are confined. But development means to go ahead, to make progress, etc. So development means not only material growth, but more importantly, the blossoming of cultural, intellectual, spiritual, and other non-material aspects of human existence. That is the meaning of development. Unfortunately, the Western notion of development has sidelined all these aspects and brought materialism to the center stage. And all intellectual and cultural growth aimed at making money and accumulating goods was the priority. So the concept of sustainable development got its prominence in an important theme in the year 1987. Only 1987 the concept of sustainable development came to the limelight of the world. The Brundtland Commission on Environment and Development in its report, Our Common Future. Sustainability is a criterion for all development activities. That was the first time. So developed countries laid emphasis on economic and technological aspects without forgetting everything. So now I will come to, we have to think about the more equity and justice. Its approach is balanced and integrative. It has common goal but different roots. It considers nature not only as a resource for development, but also as the earthly home for survival and development of the humankind. It is participatory in nature. So, goals of sustainable development may be very small, that is, basic needs of all human beings should be fulfilled. Development process should not disturb the ecological balance and environmental purity. All national people must join hands together or support to achieve above two goals. So, man-nature relationship and balance must be strengthened. So, we have to think of the Prakriti, not Vikriti. And the issue of contemporary issue has been framed in a relationship between development and environment. To Gandhi, progress had two. One is economic progress, another is real progress. So, the progress we see, that is only economic progress, not the real progress. So, to achieve everything, I say there must be a rainbow coalition. We need a rainbow coalition. Number one, the Greens groups, that means environmentalists, the women's groups, the peace movement groups, student movement groups, indigenous, movement groups, HR movement groups, human rights groups, movement groups, and peasant and trade groups, they must join hands together to achieve this. So, I tell you, last, to Acharya Vinoba, the working sense of India, he told, high powers only can bring excellence. One is Sajjan, good people, Mahajan, the moneyed people, the rich people, Vidwanjan, the learned people, Raja Shakti means the government, and last one is the Janashakti, or common people. We must, work together. So here, Arnold Toynbee, historian, he says, all cannot do consist not in multiplication of, our desires of fulfilling, etc., but the deliberate and voluntary restriction of wants. That means we have to become rich knowingly. Sorry, we have to become poor by knowingly. That means by restricting our wants and desires, etc. So invest in man. Last line. So invest in man for the ability of individuals with adequate ability and moral character in sufficient number. Persons with moral, character should be available in sufficient number. Last line. Full employment is more desirable than increasing production combined with the employment. Okay, so thank you and for my time.
Thank you so much. Varied domain ranging from production, planning, procurement in pharmaceutical and MNC companies to CSR and HR in Tata Motors. May I have you on stage, please, so that you can share time for some words of wisdom.
Thank you very much for that good introduction to what is given. I have around 30 years of experience in industries, especially long term with Tata Motors. Last 17 years I've been working there. It's always been a pleasure to come back to Province. I've given some guest lectures, not now, 10, 12 years back when I was there at Uttarakhand as HR. I have addressed some of the previous students before. And Province is a home place for me, be it in Bombay or Calcutta or in Delhi. So I have been going around as a guest lecturer for some of the Province colleges and the other MBA colleges. It's always a difficult job for the second speaker, especially after a wonderful presentation being given by Dr. Jena. So let me try and keep up the tempo. I'm going to talk about only the basics. I'm not going to talk about what is Indian sustainability. Population is going to be there in urban locations. Try to imagine what kind of infrastructure, what kind of skill development, the people moving from rural to urbanization, what kind of job opportunities, lot many things. There's one of the factors we should keep in mind. The second one is skill development. What NSDC has projected, not for 2020, the next year itself, 2030, how much it will become. Try to understand. So everybody will be getting a job. The moment you finish your MBA or before that itself, the campus will go into here. We need skilled people, especially the management students. Right, so you are all hot property today, especially when you are doing it from Bhavan's niche college, like Bhavan's, you are going to pick up and all 100% placement will be there. My best wishes for that. Right, so what kind of skill development we are looking at? Only on the building and construction, the real estate needs 6.5 million people by next year. Transportation, 20.4 million people. The wellness industry needs around 14.27 million skilled people, and retail requires around 50 million. So totally they require around 120 million workers by 2023. This is what next year we are talking about. By 2030, how much it will be, you can all imagine. Right? The third concept what I am going to talk about is about the health. There are some hard facts which you need to understand. The three groups of undernutrition. Okay, just for you to understand, I have a little bit elaborated this. Wasting is one of the concepts, one of the parameters, which is a low weight for the height. So you need to have some kind of a weight. When you have 3% are stunted, 21% are wasted, 57% need vitamin A deficiency, and 75% are anemic. Just read the last sentence, what we do here. What the UNICEF has stated. In the World Children 29, UNICEF said that every second child in that age group is affected by some form of malnutrition in India. Very difficult fact one needs to understand. Why I am saying all these things, will connect the dots at the end of the presentation. But try to grasp what exactly is the need of the hour. Right? Old age. Today, India has been projected as the youngest population in the world. Around 30-35% of the people are the age group of 20 to 35, who is employable, who is ready I mean, they all are energetic and take the economy forward. But try to understand the old age is also catching up fast because of the lot of the good work which is happening in R&D and the health premises and things like that. Only one fact which I would like to present upon: the 60 plus population in India will rise to 32 crore by 2050. Right. So by 2026 it will be 17.3. You know how much that will be? Around 15 to 20% of the people will be above the age of 60. Right? What is the expenditure what we are doing today on the social service? What the government is doing? Okay? Combined together, central and the state were around 17.6%. We are at how many percent? Go back. 7.7%. Right? We are at the bottom most. Along with Mexico, we are around 7.5%. So do we need to spend more? Yes or no? Yeah. So why do we need to spend more? There is the concept of corporate sustainability. Okay, so this is where we stand. I'm going to introduce a new thing for you guys. Some of you will be knowing about it, the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, this has been framed in the United Nations General Assembly in the year 2015 to 2030. There are 17 goals. Yeah. Okay, in the order of which I'll just go through some of the very important things which India is capturing upon. No poverty is goal number 1, zero hunger is goal number 2, good health and well-being is goal number 3, malnutrition, we are talking about. Okay, and quality education, gender equality, clean water, sanitation, Dr. Jain has touched upon those topics. Affordable and clean energy, again we have talked about renewable energies, decent work and economic growth. Okay, so on and so forth. So many things are there we need to take care of. Everywhere, all the 17 goals has got targets. By 2030, all participating countries have to do it, including India. Right? So how do you measure that? In the scale of 1,000, I'm talking about. So 0 to 250 is human consideration. The small things what you do, early intervention stage, basic survival needs, Dr. Jain has touched upon, is human consideration. So you all have master studies, Maslow's hierarchy, and something like excellence will come when you are benchmarking the process with other countries who are far ahead. Okay, what is the difference between CSR and corporate sustainability? They are interchangeable. Corporate social responsibility and corporate sustainability, are they same? Are they different? Let us see. Both are already business activities. Whether it is corporate sustainability or CSR, both are business activities. When there is a need, you are going to do an intervention, an activity, which will be in the form of CSR or which will be in the form of corporate sustainability. Let us go a little bit deep on this and try and understand this, what is CSR and what is CS. Right? The overall umbrella, what you are seeing is the sustainable development, which is macro level. This is an umbrella. Right? And corporate sustainability, what you are seeing over here, is that micro level, under the umbrella. And you have three things. One is the economic need, social need, and economic needs, which encompasses the corporate sustainability or the sustainability initiatives as such. The definition of the CSR. As per the law, you all must be knowing, this was studied also, I don't know. 2013, the Company Act, the CSR has been mandated, and 2% of the last 3 years average profit the corporate has to do CSR activities. Right? This was studied in your academics also. So, as per the law of the Company Act, what is the definition? You can see it over here. It's not a charity, it's not a mere donation, it's the process by which an organization thinks and evolves its relationship with the stakeholders. So, this is what is important, and this is what has been defined in the Company Act also. Okay, I'll come to this a little later, this slide. Maybe after completing 1 or 2 slides more, I'll go back and show you what exactly it is. Okay. Now, what about prior to 2013, that is a bit before the Company Act, there are companies like Tata Motors and various large-scale industries, and I think they were doing CSR assets. In fact, we are talking about 2% now. Okay, for last 75 years, Tata Motors were doing 4% of the entire crop as a CSR activity. You all was doing during the pandemic, Ratan Tata, how much is donated and what are the contributions being made by each and every Tata group of companies. More than 1,000 crores of rupees was given only by TCS, right, towards the pandemic. So many things are, and you have Tata Trust altogether, who do it 1,000 crores year on year. Okay, so this is a type of contribution what Tata does. Okay, so prior to the financial year 13 and 14, they were diffused across the locations, whereas after the Company Act has come, the entire location, wherever they have the production units and manufacturing units, they are all unified. Earlier, the geographical spread was only in rural areas where the communities are there and we used to go and do a kind of an activity. Whereas now, since the responsibility has come to the corporate, they need to monitor what the CSR and impact and the budget as such. So it will become more of a local, and the people in and around 28 kilometers or 50 kilometers, they have been taken into account for doing the CSR activities. Then the educational institutions like BDUs and other corporates, what they have, they involve with them and do a common, because the goal is same, they spread the education, right? They need an education, you are in the field of education, so there is a shared value between the corporate and the people around. That is how the shared value comes into the picture. And there is an inclusive business model. And that is how the whole thing like CSR, right from the charity, how it has evolved itself to the business model itself. Okay? Again, the same thing. I have just elaborated a bit by saying, the charity is giving to the worthy cause, philanthropic is divided into tactical and strategic, and shared values, identifying the opportunity, and inclusive business model is to acquire new skills and then work with the people as such. Okay, now I will introduce this concept, very important concept, and then we will take a small case study before ending my presentation as such, so that you will come to know how a corporate does a job of a CSR which gets involved into the corporate system, through which you will clearly understand what is the CSR activity and what is the corporate basis. We need to do some kind of information from any corporate space that corporates. Right? So number of people touched, or the number of students, number of kids which touched upon is the immediate output. Okay, I have identified 50 kids from the age of 0 to 5. That is the immediate number what we are talking about, and that number of kids which I am doing the intervention is the immediate outcome. Then what is the outcome? What is the immediate benefit or pre-impact? Can anybody say? I am doing an intervention of making a malnutrition kid to a healthy baby. The output I have talked about, output is the number of kids which I have touched upon, where I am doing converting a malnutrition to a healthy baby. What would be the immediate outcome? Anyone? Any guesses? I mean, there is nothing wrong or right in this. You want me to repeat? Okay. You are doing an intervention, okay, even some activity, from a corporate XYZ to a slum area, for example, where there are malnutrition kids between the age group of 0 and 5. Right? And you are doing some feeds, some kind of dosages, you are taking the doctors over there, giving them some medicines, or about the regular feeds and things like that. You are doing a lot of such activities. The immediate output is number of kids. Right? That is output, numbers. I have taken 50 members, for example, from the slum, out of 200 kids. Initially to start off with, I have that much of budget only. 50 students I have touched upon, 50 kids I have touched upon, and that is the output. What would be the output?
So
firstly, it can be that the deaths that happen right at the time of birth, that can be reduced. One such impact outcome can be done.
We'll come to impact a little later. I'm talking about outcome. What would be the immediate outcome for this particular example? You can take any other example if you want. Suppose there is. Fantastic, very good. What is your name? Very good. You are big dad. The students where I am intervening, the immediate outcome is the frequency of falling sick is less. They are moving towards an healthy. Okay, from unhealthy to a healthy situation as such. So that is the kind of outcome answer. So if I have seen 50 students, there is a 90%, 95% success rate. Right? I am seeing that 95% of people are doing it. Right? And the third one is the impact. Impact is the strong effect, solution to the problem. What was the problem? Problem was malnutrition in the slum. 3% of the kids are malnutrition over there. So what the kind of impact what we can have? And anyone say about it? What is the kind of impact? We will eradicate. What is the problem? Malnutrition is the problem. So when you eradicate malnutrition or reduce the malnutrition from 3% to 2% to 1% to 0.5%, that is the kind of impact on it. And that is sustainable. Then the sustainability comes, you are doing it as CSR intervention. Right? Starting off with a small 50, output is 10, outcome you are seeing. You know? So you are seeing that those babies are becoming healthy. Right? And slowly, the 3% of the total population in amongst the years, 5 years, 6 years, or 10 years, whatever, I am eradicating the entire 3% from that particular slum. So I have created an impact on this slum by eradicating malnutrition in the next 5 years' time, and this is done by a government. So this is the impact. So this is the basic concept of outcome and impact. Understood? Okay. This is what talked about what J.R. Tata has said about the corporate sustainability, and it's written over here. You can read it on. What Jamshid Tata has said, what comes from has to go back to the society again and again. What comes from the society has to go back to the society again and again. So this is the basis on which the Tata group of companies are based upon, and everyone in Tata group of companies. Today we have around 50% of the employees are doing volunteering. Be it blood donation, be it any of that. That's the kind of thing. Okay? This is what Gary has said. Thank you for listening. If there is any question,
we wanted to be continued for some more time, but we are in a shortage of time, so we have to move on to the next session. I sincerely thank our esteemed guest, Dr. S.C. Jaina, Mr. Shivaram J. Krishnan, for their gracious presence and enlightening us with their precious words. Now, let us move on. We have with us a host of budding researchers who are eager to share their ideas on sustainability and its practices. So we are moving on to our next session, Unmesh, and I would humbly request Dr. S.C. Jaina to chair the session, and I request Dr. Indrajit Sinha and Professor Vishwarup Chatterjee to carry forward the session, and Orko Prabhu, please continue the session.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, for the first paper, I'd like to call upon Professor Shrimati Devroy, accompanied by Shomaiti Devroy, to present their papers and shed light on the title of the paper. Thank you so much.
Chairpersons, good morning to the members of the audience. We have been given the privilege to open the presentation sessions, so thank the organizers for that. Commensurate to the theme of the conference, that is sustainability. As we know, sustainability of the environment, sustainability of nature is an important fact. At the same time, economic sustainability is also an important factor, because we know if the economy doesn't sustain, then the world will not be able to sustain. So keeping this fact in mind, we have selected the topic. As we know, in the last 2 years, the world has suffered from a previously unknown disease and a resultant economic depression resulting out of that recession. So how the Indian economy has faced this challenge and how the economy is able to sustain this, that is the theme of our topic. And now I will hand over to the Shoyamati for giving out the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
It is being authored by Assistant Professor Semanti Devraj and our co-authors. The objective of this study is to study the impact of pandemic-induced lockdown on the share prices and the NAV of certain selected sectors. So the industries chosen for the study are automobile from the manufacturing sector, banking from the service sector, and mutual funds from the finance sector. First, we will be starting with the automobile sector of India. The objective of the study is to study the impact of COVID-19 induced lockdown on the share prices of automobile sector. So, the automobile industry details is given about where after independence the Indian government has adopted the socialist economy and implemented the first tariff commission in 1952, led to termination of the activities of the automobile assemblers. And as well, these are some of the important points that are being covered in the automobile industry. Now, the growth of the Indian automobile sector in India, these are some of the representations that shows how much growth automobile sectors in India have faced. The factors that affected the Indian auto industry. So these are the two factors that affected. Now the problems faced by Indian automobile sectors during the COVID-19 pandemic. So these are the sectors as well shown. So the four major automobile giants or the companies that are selected are Tata Motors, Maruti Suzuki, Ashok Leyland, and Mahindra Motors. So the account of Maruti Suzuki Limited, which was launched in 1983, and the first car was Maruti 800 and Maruti Omni. Then another automobile giant like the Tata Motors, an Indian company that had the legacy of building automobiles. And next is Ashok Leyland that mostly makes the transportation vehicles and other stuff. Then comes the Mahindra Motors, whose book and as well as some of the important documents have been provided. Now, we have already presented the objective. Now, data collection is that the data type is research is basically done on the secondary data that was available, and the source of data was Money Control website, Zero-the Kite website, and TradingView website. The methodology adopted was to generate the data we have collected, the opening and the closing value of the selected stocks on each Friday for a period of 6 months in the year 2021 as well as in the year 2022. Now the statistical analysis, the statistical tools that we used were finding the descriptive statistics like arithmetic mean, standard deviation, coefficient of variation to split out the basic parameters of the stocks, and the statistical stage was ANOVA, that is analysis of variance, whose null hypothesis was that all the stocks will be having same pattern in the year 2021 and 2022. The alternative hypothesis was that the pattern of change is not similar of different stocks in 2021 and 2022. That is, there is significant difference present. So this will be the statistics that analysis that we have done. In this ANOVA, we are seeing that the eight value that we have seen and calculated are having a major difference. So this means that the change was quite prominent. And the Tata Motors Limited, that these are the shares that we have done the other like AM, like the arithmetic mean, standard deviation, and coefficient of variation. And lastly, the Mahindra Motors. The conclusion is that the pattern of change in the stock prices in all the four companies followed a similar pattern, and there is no significant difference in the average change of the stock price of the four automobile sectors. Then comes the problem faced by the banking companies in the COVID lockdown. Then about the banking companies we have selected, like the HDFC Bank, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank and Kotak Mahindra. The objective of the study was to study the impact of the pandemic induced lockdown on the share prices of the banking sector. The data collection was similar to what we have done in the automobile industry, and the methodology adopted is also similar. The statistical analysis is also similar to automobile industry. Now the Excel sheet where the data is presented. These are the four banks that were selected: Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank and Kotak Bank, and we have conducted the annual on both the banks, on all the banks, on both the years that we have taken. And these are the arithmetic means. And these are the arithmetic mean standard deviation and covariance. Now the mutual fund industry. The objective was similar to what I have already said in the previous slides. Now, about the mutual fund and basis form. These are the factors that influence the NAV, the problem faced, and these are the few of the mutual funds that we have chosen for our project. Now, the data set is similar to the previous ones, and this is a statistical analysis that we have chosen, and this is the Excel sheet where we perform the t-test as well as pair t-test. Now this is the SBI blue chip fund on which the t-test was conducted. The Kotak blue chip fund, the ICICI Prudential blue chip fund, and the HDFC Top 100 fund. Now the conclusion is that from the t-test we have concluded that the change of energy pattern is little different during the post-COVID period. This implies that the pandemic did have significant influence on the NAV pattern of the later time. And the final conclusion is that as the change pattern is similar in the two periods, it can be concluded from the economic slowdown due to COVID did not have much impact on the stocks prices as well as the NAV prices. The market were able to be basically insulated from the COVID storms. Thank you.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. Today, myself, Swagat Maheshwari, along with my co-author, Ansita Singh, we have prepared the research paper on the topic e-commerce growth in India market. So, before starting the presentation, I am showing you the contents which we will cover right now in the presentation. So, these are the contents. I'm also contributing to the growth of the e-commerce industry. Now second, the methodology which we have used. So the paper reviews the literature on the basis of secondary data collected from various reference. Telecom Authority of India. Analysis of data has been performed by our studio. Then literature reviews. We have
questions. So anyone from the audience who is having any type of questions? Okay. Sir.
Yeah, Swagat, what do you think the most important factor as to adoption of e-commerce in Indian environment?
The question is about adoption of e-commerce. Indian environment is all about awareness. Awareness of e-commerce and making people habitual of this e-commerce habit. First, this something where company needs to build a trust.
is Ruksha Mondal from BBA Futsal. Sorry, BBA Futsal, sorry. So can you please come up on stage?
Good morning, everyone present here. I would like to express my gratitude towards the esteemed chairperson and thank you all the audiences for being present here. Myself, Ruksha Mondal, and today I am going to present on sustainable business opportunities for semi-structured business owner and application of factor analysis with the guidance of Dr. Humanities, sir. So this is a plan of presentation, review of literature, objectives of the study, hypothesis and so on, as you can see on the slide. This is the review of literature which we have done. Then comes to the objectives of the study. So the objectives of the study is to identify the major variables that influence small business owners to their sustainability in the current competitive world. As we all know that we are going through a pandemic world. Before the COVID-19 hit, the market was very different and the education system also. But post the pandemic, we have moved upon the online market, online shopping and all these. So these are the things. Second is to identify the major factors that can be addressed by the authority to sustain them in the uncertain competitive world. Third, to identify best alternative strategies for sustainable business opportunities for semi-structured business owners. Next, come to the hypothesis. The study we have done attempts to probe into some of the following specific hypotheses. All the variables do not play significant role to influence small business owners to their sustainability in the current competitive world. The major factors that can be addressed by the authority do not play significant role to influence small business owners to their sustainability in the current competitive world. So the research methodology. For the research methodology, we have used factor analysis. We have taken 15 variables to do the study. And data collection method is concerned, we have done questionnaire basis, we have done offline mode. We went to the local market and questioned all the vendors and the shop owners and has collected 200 samples. The sample size elimination. In the reliability statistics, we have done the statistics in SPSS 2021 for the support of factor analysis. We can see the Cronbach's alpha is 0.85, which is highly acceptable for factor analysis. Next is the overall model weight and goodness of model. KO and Martek test we have chosen to support the variables which we have taken. The rotated, we can see that the first 1, 2, 3, then 6 and 13 are come on the first factor variable. Then 5, 7, 8, 11 and 14 comes to the second factor variables, and third comes 5th, 9, 10, 12 and 15. So conclusion, the response variables, competency among neighbor, environment of job, etc. identify the socio-economic strategies for sustainable business which can be taken care by self, society and local government. Second, availability of resources, selling of items on a daily basis, etc. Identify the alternative inventory management strategies for sustainable business, and the strategies can be taken care by the local government. Third, the cost of transporting resources, fulfillment of necessary needs, etc. Identify the self-esteem strategy for sustainable business. The strategies can be taken care by self. So everything has its pros and cons. For our presentation, we do have some limitations, and the limitations are self-motivated alternative business opportunities, proper planning and time management is highly required, engagement of socio-economic environmental activities, both positive activities towards sustainable development of overall society. These are the few graphics. Thank you.
On stage, Nisha Roy from MBA Third Cell, who has been duly guided by Dr. Inmanagement.
My name is Nisha Raj. I am pursuing MBA and my specialized field is business analytics. So we have done our research on machine language in trend analysis of stocks. Supervised learning, another one is unsupervised learning. The supervised learning is generally work with the label data and it is based on the data, machine predict the output. And in other hand, unsupervised learning is work with unlabeled data set and allow to act on that data without any supervision. So moving on to the next slide, the literature review part. So machine learning is widely used for stock price prediction. As I have mentioned here, ANN, which is artificial neural network, and support vector regression are two widely used machine learning algorithms to predict the stock price and stock market index. So here I have mentioned some steps to predict the stock price, like the trend analysis. I'm not explaining in this slide. I'm going to explain this in my upcoming slides. So the outlier, which is an outlier is the small or big observation. So we need to remove the outlier for the best outcome. And the third one is stationarity test. And the fourth one is autocorrelation and partial autocorrelation. And the fifth one is autoregressive integrated moving average model. So I have done this my research doing supervised learning method. So my purpose of the study to understand the stock market prediction and to determine the value of a company stock. And a successful prediction of stock future can be a significant profit. Obviously, if you do the prediction, if you can do the prediction today, you will get to know the price of tomorrow. So it's a huge benefit. And to understand the stock volatility, and you can reduce the financial risk as well.
out here. So yeah, again I'm starting again. So good afternoon to all of you present here and all the dignitaries out here. So first of all, I'm very thankful to Humanities for conducting this national conference in association with AIMS and giving us a platform to present our paper. So as the topic says that we have to present a topic regarding sustainable trends and practices. So here is my paper. Titled Business Skills of Management Students to Sustain in the Job Market and Empirical Analysis. So myself Gaurav Shah and I'm co-authored by Dr. Humanities. So first of all, before delving deep into the topic, I want to share a very shocking statistics to all of you, those who are doing MBA. And not only MBA, all the management students out there. So a recent research by MBAviewers.com, it said that out of 10 MBAs, it's a very correct research done by MBAviewers.com, said that out of 10 MBAs, only one MBA got job after completing their MBA. So you can know what probability are there of getting an employment after doing a normal traditional MBA. And it also said, and it's the research saying that the students are mainly tier 2 and tier 3 colleges, that the students are taking admission in colleges, in MBA colleges, just by looking the average placement package and the course and the fee structure without knowing why they are doing MBA and what they gonna teach, they gonna learn during their MBA course. So these are very shocking statistics. So now going forward, so this is my plan of the presentation. First of all, we will see some literature reviews. Then we will see the objective of my research study, methodology, data analysis, finding, conclusions, recommendations, limitations, and review. So here's the literature review. So I have gone through rigorously through various research papers, but for the time constraint and the slide constraint, I am quoting just two papers out there, which is very much connected to my own research paper. So the first paper dealt with the role of employability skills in management education, which was published in 2013 by Dr. V. Krishna Reddy. So this paper identified that the skills which management students are possessing right now and what is required in the industry are hugely, there is a huge gap between them. So they identified that enforcing this employability skills in the management education is very much needed for the management students' overall development. And the second paper by Nidhi Srivastava, the paper named A Study on Factors Affecting Employability Skills of Management Students, which was published in 2014, finds out that apart from normal academic skills, 4 major skills which are needed by a management student to perform well in the job market. And they are analytical skills and self-awareness, general management and work culture, leadership and problem-solving skills, and the last one is communication. Some recommendation is not divided, the strategies taken by. So the first one is education institution. What strategies or suitable practices can education institution should take to implement those skills, like conducting frequent cooperative seminars, events and workshops, then implementing aptitude classes, public speaking classes, group classes in their everyday curriculum, then conducting industry-oriented software classes which BIS regularly takes, and the one most important thing that maintaining a student scorecard. Like for a company, we have a balanced scorecard which will help to analyze the performance of the company. That in the same way, BIS have a student scorecard for the students that will help the students themselves to holistically determine whether they are improving through their MBA and BBA curriculum or not. And this is the management student, what management student can do, that the first step they can do is to effectively participate in all the events that the education institution, that is those they are conducting, and they should do skill-based internships and practice effective communication and do lots of work experience. So these are some limitations of my studies. And this is the conclusion. Thank you so much.
like to start my presentation to say namaste to everyone present here, and I express my gratitude to the chairperson. So today my paper is factor influencing the student admission in management college and application of logistic education, guided by my co-author Dr. Humanities. So my presentation agenda is review of the literature, objectives of the study, hypothesis, and so on, mentioned in the slide. So here are some literature reviews I have taken from the Google Scholar for finding some variables of using my study. So now some question may arise that why I choose this topic and how it is connected with sustainability. So keep this question in my mind. We have three objectives: to identify the major variables that influence students' admission in management college. Second one is to identify the relationship among the major variables that influence students' admission in management college. And the third one is to identify sustainable strategies for students' admission in management college. Next is hypothesis test. The study attempts to prove into the following specific hypothesis. First one is all the variables do not play a significant role to influence students' admission in management college. And the second one is the relationship among the major variables that can be addressed by the authority do not play a significant role to influence student admission in management college. So here the methodology of my study. The dependent variable is the study is admission in management college, which has two binary outcomes, like if a student do not take admission is coded as 0, and if a student take admission is coded as 1. As we have binary variable, hence we use logistic regression model software version 21 to estimate the relationship among the dependent variable to our independent variable, point of odd ratio. So it is nothing but a probability that the dependent variable explained by the independent variable. Here the odd ratio for college reputation and academic environment is 11.47. That indicates that if the college have good reputation and academic environment, then the students are 11.47 times wants to get admission in a good management college. Similarly, the second one, students' academic rating, the value is 2.147. That indicates that if the college have student academic rating, good student academic rating, then the students want to get admission in this college. Next is, okay, the conclusion is from the logistic regression analysis, we will conclude that if the management institution has taken some policies to make their reputation in good position with other institutional development, using holistic approaches to develop the students and their academic environment through more interactive activities with the industry. And the second is relevant placement and regular performance audit after placement also make a good impact on the reputation of the institutions. And the last one is, apart from this, a competitive and affordable course fee and students' quality check when they enter into the institution also play an important role to increase the number of students in management college. That can lead sustainable growth of the management colleges. And some recommendation we have, that is academic improvement for holistic growth of the students, quality of internal and external activities and regular audit for the students' development. Third one is more assessment of placement activities and student development oriented program for overall. And last one is more practical approaches of management study apart from regular class activity, at least industry oriented for practical exposures. So we have some limitation of our study. First, since the study was conducted in one Indian state, which is West Bengal, so it can only be assumed that the conclusions do not represent the views of the entire population. Second is the responses might have come from students who are 12 passed out and graduated. And third one is another consistent of our research is the availability and utilization of updated models and software. Here is some bibliography, and thank you everyone.
Indian third cell has been guided duly by Professor Shamanti Dev said.
The chairs and to the members of the audience. Once again, in this paper, it is a statistical analysis of the gold industry. Gold, we know, is a very attractive word in India. Everyone is attracted towards it. But here we try to find out how the gold market has behaved again and how it has been affected by the pandemic of the last 2 years and whether it has been able to sustain its flourish and yellowish color over these years and how the industry is performing now. So that is the theme of this paper. I'm putting it over to Sri Rakit to do the rest of the presentation.
Topic. We will start with the factors that are influencing the gold price in India. First is inflation. As we know, as inflation, the prices rises and the gold price also rises. Next is currency fluctuation and depreciation. As an example, if Indian rupee were to weaken against the dollar, then the chances are that value of gold will increase in the Indian rupee. Next is the impact of gold reserves. When we see the central bank of any country buys more gold reserves, we can see the prices rise. And next is the impact of Indian jewelry market. During any festive season like Diwali or Dhanteras, we see the price of the gold also rises due to the high demand. Next is protection from uncertainty. As we recently faced the COVID-19 situation, we saw that the value of the gold rose very quickly. And next is the demand and supply. Unlike oil, gold is not a consumable commodity. So the demand of the gold is very high, but the supply is scarce. So these are the advantages of investing in gold. Gold is a tangible asset. It is highly liquid. It can be converted to cash very quickly. In a crisis community or a geopolitical uncertainty, when the trust in the government is very low, the price of the gold rises, and that's the advantage for its investing in gold. There is a feeling of uncertainty exists in the market, but in 2022 we can see it is slowly becoming more stable. So it is also under sustainable. These are the references.
I thank all the participants and I request all of you to please be seated and have patience for the certificate distribution by our Honorable Session Chair. So I now request Dr. Sinha to...
Why I chose the topic? What is the significance of those? For example, Madam told about gold. The price of gold variation before COVID-19, during COVID-19, after COVID-19. So why I choose the topic? Please, you have to mention in future also. I am referring you. Please, why you selected regarding methodology? I tell you, please. It must be statistical, inductive, theoretical, empirical, on the basis of data analysis or testing hypothesis. So these are the methods. So I mean, all of you presented, maybe it is theoretical, that means purely on book review, or on empirical. One told that I have collected 200 questions. I have got everything. 200 questions I have distributed and I collected all these things. So it is empirical in nature. So that must be clearly mentioned. And next, the major, I will study what you studied, and then comes your limitations. And then comes that during your study, what is your shortcomings? क्या problem आपने face किया, क्यों complete नहीं कर पाया? What is the problem anyway? And then last one is findings. Please not mention no here conclusion, because in social science research nothing is conclusive. It is always a findings. Okay, so thanking you all. Please keep in mind everything for future.
Swagat Maheshwari. Anshika Singh. Ruksha Mondal. Anshika Singh. Nisha Roy, Gaurav Shah, Tanushree Shah, and Shivangi Mukherjee. Thank you so much, sir, for doing the honors.
Thank you all. So many nice presentations, but please try to improve because in social science very difficult. You know, social science has no boundaries. But in physical science and natural science, you can confine yourself within a four wall. That is what is called laboratory. In social science, there is no laboratory. Please be serious about this. It is very difficult to do any project or research or dissertation. Okay? Thank you all.
Certificate of honor as the session chair, Dr. Jena. Thank you so much. And we also thank Shivaram Krishnanji for being so patient listener throughout the session. Please, I request you to come to the dais.
পেছনে এটা বন্ধ করো না বস, এটা বন্ধ করো না, ওইটা বন্ধ করো না, না না প্রজেক্টরটা একটু অফ করে দাও।
There can be a group photograph with the session presenters. All the presenters, please. All the paper presenters, please come closer.
Call of the hour, which presumes development of a better understanding of the world's resources, understanding environmental phenomena and how they impact on society, developing an understanding of the behaviors and attitudes that shape the way people interact with their environment, and the development of technologies, processes and models that seek to improve our ability to live sustainability and live well. Organized by Bharatiya Vidyahavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata. Dr. Shoikar Poitro, Honorable Vice Chancellor K.P.S. Srivastav, Professor IIT Kharagpur, Dr. Ramakant Patra, Mr. M. Raghuram, Member Technical, GVC, Patra, Regional Vice President, Eastern Region, AIMS, Mr. M. Raghuram, Member Technical, GVC, and CMA Sivir Datta, partner E&Y, LLP. I also request Honorable Director Sir, Bharatiya Vidyahavan, Kolkata Kendra, Dr. G.V. Subramaniam to kindly honor us in the dais. Accompanied by a welcome song performed by our dear students Ashiana, Ananya, Arnav and Moshe. Thank you. Mahapatra Principal BIMS to deliver his requests. Over to you, sir.
A very good and warm good afternoon to all of you who are here in this auditorium. And today we know that this is an occasion where all the members of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science eagerly working for, and finally we have reached to that occasion where we welcome all the dignitaries on the dais as well as of the dais, and all the students and faculty members, staff members of BIMS family. Today we are really fortunate to have amongst us eminent academicians and top personalities from India's largest corporates amongst us. To start with, this whole event is an inspiration from our Honorable Director, Sir, Dr. G.B. Subramaniam. It is his inspiration and motivation so that our students could able to organize such a national conference, I'd say in a month's time, sir. And the dignitaries on the dais are most respected and honorable person for Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science is our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Vice Chancellor Makaud, Professor Dr. Soikat Mitra. We are really humbled and thankful to you, sir. For the last few years, your guidance is immense help to us. Whatever instruction we get from university, we'd like to implement to the best possible way. Thank you for making it to our conference, sir. Then I would take pleasure to invite, welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor for Sister Nivedita University, Professor Dr. Dhruvajyoti Chattopadhyay, sir. Sir, welcome to our national conference. A very nice and humble gentleman, I can tell you a little bit of my personal association. When he is one among the reputed scientists of the world, at the same time, such a humble person, anytime you'd like to talk to, he is always say, yes, you can. Thank you so much, sir, for this humility. Then we have got from one of the very largest public sector, Damodar Valley Corporation, and amongst us, a very humble and gentleman, Mr. M. Raghuram, who has accepted our invitation on a very fast day. Thank you so much, sir, for making it to our national conference. He is member technical, Damodar Valley Corporation, and we are really thankful to you that in spite of your busy schedule, you have made it to our conference. Then, if you see Fortune 500 companies and top 4, top 5 list, you will find one very tough consultancy named as E&Y. I am sure all of you must have seen this, and today we are again very fortunate to have amongst us CMA Sudeep Datta, the partner of E&Y LLP. He also is very supportive to me on a personal note, I will tell you, and on a professional note also, he always helps us in making our curriculum industry ready and guides throughout where discipline is important, where corporate connection is important and all that. And thank you so much, sir, for making it to our conference. Now, one amongst the best professors in HR. Probably in Eastern side, he need not require any further introduction. He is none other than Professor Dr. KVL Srivastava, one of the finest professors. He is from IIT Kharagpur, and here also a great thing, when just one call away by our convener of conference, he said, okay, I'll be available. And he has come long way from IIT Kharagpur till to make this to this conference. Thank you, sir, for making it to our conference. And I'll tell you, the person who is most favorite and affectionate to all of you who are here is Dr. R.K. Patra. Now, this whole conference would have been incomplete if he would not have started it. It is his brainchild which I have taken over and made it the dream of him possible here. Thank you very much, Dr. Patra. And Patra sir is favorite to all who are present here. And thank you, sir, for making it to our conference. we are really humbled that you have made it to here. Now the theme of the conference, before I would say and most important, let me tell you the guests who are on the dais and few guests who will be joining us tomorrow also. On the guests, these are all eminent personalities who have made it to here from MCPI. We have also Professor Sudhir Jena. He is a retired professor in economics. He has come from Odisha. Then we have got Mr. Krishnan. He is former head HR and CSR Tata Motors. We have got, if I'm sure, we have got guest from MCPI, Advisor Health, Safety and Environment, Mr. Sujit Basu. Sir, thank you so much that you have made it. An environment specialist, perhaps if I missed out somebody being new to this organization, sir, I would request our director, Dr. G.V. Subramaniam, to please introduce. You have left anybody. Environmental specialist, we have Mr. Ramesh Chandra, if I know correctly. Always ensure less of plastic, and wherever possible, let's stay out of plastic. We have tried to make it to his expectation as much as possible. Thank you, sir. And our Deputy Director, Madam, Dr. Sujata Ghosh, her inspiration is too much to be mentioned on this forum because she has guided us throughout. An absence of directors are here. Vice Principal of the school, thank you for making it to our national conference. All my colleagues who have really made this function a great one, and dear students and delegates from outside, also from Bhavan School. Thank you for making it to our conference. So now the theme of the conference, we have kept it sustainable practices in various domains, management domain, commerce, humanities and social science. You see, this is such a term without which now the next generation cannot survive, nor we. If we look into the last, we call it 26th Conference of Parties, where our Honorable Prime Minister has got 5 ambitious climate targets, which we call as Panchamrit. In that Panchamrit, 5 things he was insisted. India is a country where 1 out of 6 persons in the world they stay. If you pick up, then population of India is 17% of that of the world. So we are more concerned on climate related issues. So the sustainability concept today is, you cannot have 1 P which we were having in business, profit. We need to have 3 P's today. Profit, planet and people. So you cannot ignore planet and people for the sake of profit. Same concepts are coming with ESG, environment, social and governance. Now sustainability, different from the very first day till date, is going through a lot of changes. And today it is a holistic approach. Earlier we were saying, let us not waste resources so that our next generation will suffer. That was sustainability. But today the definition is slightly changed. It's a holistic approach. And on that note, our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji has an announcement in Glasgow in November last year, November 2021, which we call 26th session of Conference of Parties, where this Panchamrit, what is being addressed, is of this type, where one of the most important is net zero by 2070. 2070, we are taking a target of net zero emission, carbon emission. If you are emitting, we have to take the responsibility of suppressing also. Then a non-fossil fuel capacity target by 2030, which is 500 gigawatt, we will have non-fossil fuel energy target. We also have a target of reducing carbon emission by 50%. So these are few of the emerging things we want, and being from management or humanities or social science or from commerce, we all need to know that sustainability comes at a cost also. A target of 1.4 trillion US dollar is being set for that and everybody need to take care of now in the direction of sustainability. I from a finance background only tell you now that all investors are now looking into ESG funds, ESG index, ESG related companies whether they are reporting as per ESG norms, then they are choosing the company where they need to invest. So this is such an important area. Without wasting much time, I would know that we will deliberate on this for tomorrow also, 4 sessions of deliberation. I am sure we are going to look forward to sustainable development. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Hello. Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. G.V. Subramaniam, Director, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan.
Good afternoon, good to all of you. So it's very good afternoon. Then we know that you are alive after a good lunch. Fine. I welcome one and all over here, my brothers and sisters of the academic field as well as the industrial field. I will not go too much of speaking because there is a lot of good speakers over here. We would like to definitely listen to them, and there's a lot of things which we have to do over and above this in the research work. What is sustainability? Put it in different words, ability to sustain. What is ability to sustain? Do you have the capacity to keep things going? There was a small story which I will relate. An old man was there, and there was an youngster, both of them, they were watching football game. And the youngster was telling to the old man, you people, you are all been there for so many years. We have these gadgets, we have these LCDs, we have this particular laptop, we have the smartphones, what do you have? The old man said, we have done the research work, we have produced this for you, therefore you are enjoying it today. And that's what we people as youngsters have to do for the next generation, and this is what, in simple terms, sustainability. In much more simpler, in my own lighter way, let me tell you, in my own lighter way, I'll tell you, if you have gone to a toilet, if you come out of it, keep the toilet as neat and clean as it was before. That is sustainability. This is where you have to start your value system. This is where you have to start your ethics. And if you are doing it for yourself in your own house, I'm 100% sure tomorrow when you go to the corporate houses, anything which is given to you, whether it is economic, commerce, finance, whatever it may be, take it up and you will do it well. Learn this art of keeping this so that you leave everything best for the next generation. So thank you very much. I will not speak more. There are more speakers. I would like to listen to them. Thank you. Thank you all.
ঘুরিয়ে অপোজিট অপোজিট স্যার এই তো ঢোক বাদিকে চাপ আর একটু হ্যাঁ স্যার এদিকে স্যার ধরুন স্যার থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার
Good afternoon to all of you, all the luminaries and dignitaries sitting at the dais with me, Dr. Patra, Dr. Mohapatra, Dr. Subramaniam, Sudhir Datta, then dearest and elder brother, Dr. Dhubajyoti Chatterjee, and of course all these important faculty members and other stakeholders from this institute and most important stakeholders, the students. The topic chosen for today's conference is sustainable trends and practices in management, commerce, humanities and social science research. The framework is such a big enough, anything can be fitted into it. You can say anything and it can be adjusted within this framework. So it's a very intelligent move by Bhavan management, Bhavan's group of management to manage the entire this national conference, inviting speakers from diverse backgrounds. Now, say this is a much hard work. This every day we are coming across this term sustainability, then all these trends and practices, environmental protection, all these things. But you see, there are many facets and many intricacies associated with it. Social science is important here. Of the late, if you look at all the summits, there is the conflict of interest among the developing countries and developed countries, or developed countries and yet to be developed countries. Now, developed countries, they are preaching and they are advising these underdeveloped countries to cut down emissions. As they have done all this consumption for a prolonged period of time, and they are advising others, all the countries who are now reaching the level of prosperity, to cut down all this consumption. Human beings, you see, always they will be looking forward for more comfort. Now it is a part of this debate in social science. What is the right they are associated with all the developed countries to face the developing countries towards these sorts of activities and exercises? However, you see how in our country we have lots of things, lots of this challenging areas, and in the world also it is the challenge is something different. And few minutes before I was hearing a story told by Dr. Subramaniam that older person, he was taking pride in doing research, and the outcome of that is being enjoyed by this new generation people. But on the other hand, it is the older people who have converted this world, who are converting this world, blue planets into more and more plastic planets, and living a very much polluted, unsustainable world for this young generation. That is also the gift of older generation to this younger generation. You see, we all of us, from our from our birth to the death, we are nothing but consumers. We consume air, we consume water, we consume food, and at this, on the other hand, we emit all sorts of pollutants, and we continue making this our surroundings more and more polluted, and as because we are getting advantage of technologies towards increasing the level of consumption for our more comfortability, it increases our carbon footprint more and more because earlier, even 2-3 decades before, this average population or middle class population of this country, they could not afford car or air conditioning machine. Today's situation is different. All of us have this smartphone at our hand, but this requires considerable energy for charging. So everything is associated for consumption. It can be linked with carbon footprint. Now people are talking about handprint. Handprint means what we are leaving behind in terms of restoration of the environment. Only one species at this world that can protect this, that is protecting this environment by their sheer presence or existence. That is, how many plants we need to take care of, or we need to it may cause deterioration and degradation of our health. But this disaster situation is not far away because of this climatic change and all these activities. Today itself, there is a report at newspaper how many years with the prevalence of the cyclones and all these things. The point is there, how plant population or forestry, number one, that is very much required for attaining sustainability. Second is, technology is taking care of many things. Now, as because we are now migrating or moving from more and more renewable form of energy, solar photovoltaic cell at our country. And for that, we are still, reduce our carbon footprint of the entire country. Second is, for all the hard work, there should be sufficient, this thrust in the research area. Humanities may require for similar activity 10 watt of energy, and that requires kilowatt of energy. But how to take care of all this? Why it is happening? Because all this energy requirement is very minimum for transferring signal from one sinus to other and ultimately to brain in the interface that requires that can reduce this energy consumption. Adopting all these things in making our existing practices from construction, from using automobiles, from vegetable products can be converted into mid-like products. So the taste will remain the same, but energy consumption and other researches, all these technology adoptions are to be done very fast and very quick, and at the same time problem. So how to adapt the smart farming and smart agricultural systems and all these things in agricultural applications? This is also another area. So in this way, if we take each and every aspect, all these areas are associated with many challenging situations, and there can be very ubiquitous technologies, very novel technologies, very these managerial solutions that can be applied. We are talking about agile management system. The basis of agile management system, how to we're trying our level best in mitigating all the burning problems which we are facing, because this is required for our own interest only. We do not know what is going to happen within coming 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, whether will be here, will we have a sustainable life, will not face any, this natural catastrophe and all these things, will not face any war, because this also requires, this applications of social science, because human engineering, we know that in this by sheer this pride of power, countries are trying to this take over or positive these other countries, and that struggle continues. We thought that after Second World War no major war will outbreak, but that perception and idea has proved to be wrong. So lots of things are to be done. Let's hope for the best, and let's work together to provide all these solutions for all these challenging problems. Thank you very much.
For an illuminating discourse, may I now request Dr. Dhrubajyoti Chattopadhyay, Honorable Vice Chancellor of SNU, to deliver his speech.
Very good afternoon to everybody. The dignitaries of the days, and definitely my dear students who are present over here. So when my brother, almost Professor Mohapatra and also Dhrubajyoti Babu, both of them came to me and asked me to come over here. I said, oh, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, every year I used to go. So normally they have these conferences every year. Professor Batra is organizing this on behalf of the whole AIMS. So what we could see that this is very important, that identification of the title of the seminar. So this year, when you have identified this title as the Sustainable Trends and Practices in Management, Commerce, Humanities and Social Science Research, why it's becoming very important for me? I am basically a person who did my research in viruses. And so after this virus pandemic, the COVID-19, I think the question of this sustainability is becoming more relevant and it's becoming so strong for us because it actually helped us to learn a lot of different things. And when I said a lot of different things, and those things are actually when the UN first taken the resolution of having this 17 SDGs to be completed in 2030. At that time, they don't have this pandemic. But the pandemic actually enforced that why it is very important. And while going through this particular 34 papers, which are actually I could see in this your proceedings, 34 papers are going to be there to be delivered by the different people from BBA students to MBA students, or many faculty members and everybody. And I could see the variety in the whole thing. And there I find that one of the most important thing with respect to the COVID-19 aspect I wanted to share with you that on 20th March when this lockdown being announced in 2020, right after that there is an almost stalemate in all the sectors if we can consider. And when we are considering that, the major thing what we could see in the business, economics as well as the education sector, they are very much affected. And at that time, specifically the IT sector, they cannot stop their work, so basically they actually encourage the people to work from home. This WFH as a concept being developed for the sustainability due to the COVID itself, right now actually started as a trend, because right now the IT industry is thinking about why actually to invest in infrastructure. We can actually work from home and that can take care of the whole thing. And so the question of management students is actually which is going to cover the new concept of work from home, and we have to think about how actually we practice our things agenda which will help us to be sustainable. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir, for making us knowledgeable on the subject. May I now request Dr. KBL Srivastav, Professor of IIT Kharagpur, to deliver his speech. Over to you, sir.
Everyone, dignitaries on the dais, and faculty members of the institute, students, staff, and other people. In fact, I'm going to talk to you after this inaugural session is over, so I'm not going to say much over here. So I thank the organizers to invite me for this conference. I'm going to talk about that how HR is going to help organizations to drive sustainable practices and make sure that organizations are going to be sustainable in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. R.K. Patra, sir, Regional Vice President East of AIMS, to deliver his speech. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to everybody. Respected dignitaries on the dais, faculty members, research scholars, paper presenters, and my dear students. I am here, the opposite side of the stage. I used to be the other side, just now here, and I am thankful to Dr. G.B. Subramaniam and Dr. Mahapatra and the coordinators for inviting me as a representative of AIMS. And I am very much delighted to see that which we planned and that is being materialized today. And thank to Dr. Komer Bhattacharya and Dr. Joydeep Mukherjee, Professor Joydeep Mukherjee, for taking the initiative to materialize and organize this national conference today. Thank you very much. And On behalf of AIMS, we have already earlier submitted the proposal to AIMS for financial assistance, and again I am going tomorrow to Hyderabad for the AIMS Executive Board meeting. I will also definitely try to process it. And another international conference we planned, that initiative was taken by Professor Vishrup Chatterjee, and I request Director Sir and Principal Sir to help him also to organize that international conference. So thank you very much. I will not take more time. And now, regarding AIMS, what is AIMS? This is Association of Indian Management Schools. This was started 33 years back, and the first president was Professor Joe Philip, who was the first director of IIM Bangalore. It is spread pan-India with 800 member institutions, premier B schools, universities, and other departments of universities. They are the member institutions of AIMS. Institutions like IIMs, IITs, as KBL sir is there, VGSOM is our member, IIT Kharagpur, and XLRI, XIMB, then Wellington, like this, lot of various around 800 member institutions are there. We have one national president every 1 year after this is elected. And this year, Dr. R. Nandagopal is the director of XISS, Bangalore, and I am the regional vice president of Eastern region. I am covering this Jharkhand, Bihar, Ranchi, Assam, Manipur, Mizoram, Odisha. And what we do, this is the non-profit making platform which are protecting the interest of the B schools of the country. And in 2010, we fought a case against AICTE and successfully got our policies implemented by AICTE. Like what was the issue? Like fees revision, as well as admission tests, etc. So these are the issues, and now our president is in the NEP, National Education Policy. So this it is the largest networking body in India and abroad. In abroad also we have 8 universities, as well as we are helping the member institutions for accreditation. Our, as I told you, that XLRI, XIMB, IIM, IIT are our members. We provide the resource persons to member institutions to organize seminars, conferences, FDP, student development programs, etc. Also, we have different awards. Different awards means Young Faculty Research Award, Paper Presentation Award, Case Method Award, Jail Batra Award, RCM Best Director Award. So these are the different awards we used to give to different candidates and member institutions in every year. Our flagship program is National Management Education Conclave. Every year from 26th to 28th August, it is being organized. What I understand that the 4 pillars of social sustainability is human, social, economic, and environmental. I am sure that on these 4 pillars, these 2-day deliberations are going to take place, and these deliberations, as our Honorable VC sir has already mentioned, that only organizing the conference seminars is not sufficient. We have to ensure that we are implementing whatever is being delivered here. Only then the concept of this environment sustainability will be useful. Otherwise, by only simply organizing these seminar conferences, it is not going to help anybody. So thank you once again for inviting me as a resource person and the representative of AIMS. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind presence and for enlightening the session. May I now request Mr. M. Raghuram, Member Technical DVC, to deliver his speech. Over to you, sir.
audible? Yes. My dear students who are present here to discuss various sustainable development practices to promote the ESG framework across the globe. Let me introduce myself, brief introduction. My name is M. Raghuram, Member Technical, Damodar Valley Corporation. I passed out my BTech from JNTU Hyderabad in 1985 and cleared my MTech from IIT Delhi in thermal engineering. Then I joined NTPC and after putting up 35 years of service, I joined Damodar Valley Corporation as Member Tech. Conservation of natural resources is usually soil, water and vegetation involving all stakeholders within the watershed. By these words, I would like to conclude here. Once again, thank you all for allowing me to speak for a few minutes in this good occasion and great podium. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for making us knowledgeable on this subject. May I now request CMA Shudip Datta, partner Ernst & Young, to deliver his speech. Over to you, sir.
I think I'm the last speaker, so you guys must be wondering how much more pain you will have to suffer. So I try to inflict as little as possible, but you could imagine the kind of stress I was facing just a few moments back. We had 2 vice chancellors, 1 principal, 1 director, 1 professor. Wow. Stress has gone down a little bit, but still substantial. In fact, when I look back at my school and college days, my interactions with these kind of people when they were so cordial. So any of you who feel that life is not going well, there's always hope. You know, things change. So I sometimes wonder about this. Thank you, Dr. Mahabhadra, for inviting me here, and I'm privileged to be a part of this very distinguished panel. I was trying to figure out where I fit into this one, but not being able to do that. But in any case, since I'm here, let me just speak about a few points that I wanted to share. Before I speak, I would also like to pay my humble tribute to Dr. G.D. Gautama. I think he was the chairman of the governing body. I had the fortune of knowing him for many years. An excellently passionate, energetic person. His contribution as an IT secretary, then the Home Secretary and the Tourism Secretary has been incredible. It's a bit strange to feel that had things not happened the way it happened in the last 3-4 days, he would have been here and we would have been a part of this engagement. So tributes to him and prayers to his family. Stop our discussion. I think we'll do that outside, right? And I think your professors and principals will allow that. Right. So anybody who wants to do a discussion can do that outside the hall. I don't think there's a problem about that. Economy in the world. There were one set of people who said, "Wow, we become the 5th largest economy of the world. Things are great for us, and we have arrived." And there was the other set of people who said, 5th largest economy with the kind of population that we have. Today, just a few days back, the world hit a population of 8 billion. And India had about 1 point amount of inequity in wealth distribution. We have poverty, we have issues of skill, we have issues of women empowerment. But at the same point of time, with all of the advantages and disadvantages, we were 10th largest economy in 2010. We were the 15th largest economy in 2005. So from 15 to 10 to 5, and to what's happening, we are seeming to move in the right direction. Are we arrived there? I don't think that's so. It's still a far long way to go from this. So at this point of time, and of course before the pandemic, India was growing at the highest rate among economic players. And that's an amazing story that this country is, and that's the story that you guys need to take this forward. With the kind of democratic dividend that's going to happen, the complete change and the youth of the future are going to take this. And so the journey of India toward 10 trillion target, one of the biggest contribution is going to come from cities like us, in the urban cities, and many of you will not know, 75 are involved in agriculture. So over the next 10 years, as India moves from becoming a developed country to from a developing country to a developed country, there's going to be this huge shift of people who are going to come from agriculture to the cities. So from 40%, you would expect 20%. So there is going to be a huge pressure of jobs that are going to be created in manufacturing and also on the service sector. So it is extremely incumbent on all of us to make ourselves relevant to the change. things cannot and will not happen if we are just by empowering a woman. Today, the 50% of our population just contribute only 18% to the country's GDP. And that's not because of the capability of women. It is because the empowerment is not happening. A lot of us in EY, we work across rural areas. We've seen one of our best performances coming in from the women. The person who heads my team in East and Northeast is a lady who absolutely works on ground.
Discourse on the subject. Now may I request the convener of the national conference to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Dr. Bolman Bhattacharya.
So far, I think it was an ideal session and very much in keeping with the theme of our national conference. I thank all our honorable dignitaries on the dais for making out time from their busy schedule and visiting us and keeping so much of attentive patience with this session. This entire session was really mind-boggling, and our young audience has truly enjoyed your presence, and they have been sincerely impressed, of course. And we have made all our efforts to keeping the theme of the sustainability. So we have reduced the usage of plastic, and we have in fact avoided using plastic as much as possible, as you can see. So it was just a small step to begin with. And as we begin with the inaugural session, we will follow the technical sessions, the paper presentation sessions after this. So I sincerely thank all the dignitaries on the dais. And now to mention my co-convener, Professor Joydeep Mukherjee, without whose help and together we have made this event successful. I would sincerely thank individually all my dear colleagues, all the faculty members of BIMS, without whose help this would not really have been possible. They have wholeheartedly contributed to this entire program, to make this program a big success. And my dear students, all of you who are present here, I would like to mention few names. Please don't be offended if I miss out any, but Joyendra, Rajit, and to mention especially Shorodipto, these three were our pillars really of help. So without whose help, of course, this entire event would be unmanageable. So I sincerely thank each individual, each student who is present here, all our organizing team members, everyone. So we are looking forward to this entire session of engaging discussions. To begin with, we will be following after this inaugural session with the technical session which we have named Utkarsh 1. A very engaging session. There are presenters from all disciplines. So after this we will we'll take a short break for tea, and then we will return here for the technical session. Thank you everyone.
So I thank BIMS principal and Jarmines to give me this opportunity to speak in this conference, national conference. I am going to talk about that how HR is going to drive sustainable business practices. I expect each one of you to please be quiet. If you are interested, otherwise you can leave, no issue. Okay. So being a teacher, I think this is how we speak. So this is the topic on which I am going to talk about, that how HR can drive sustainable business practices. Before me, a lot of speakers have talked about what sustainability is. So I'm not going to focus much on that. Basically, if you look at sustainability, and the idea is to make sure that your business is future-proof, and that has put additional responsibility on HR, because HR is going to face a lot of challenges in the new business environment. As you can see that the kind of challenges that HR has to face, that how they are going to align their activity with that strategy. HR has to be ready with the unexpected thing that is happening in the social, economic and technical environment. You know that HR has to come forward for digital transformation during pandemic to make sure that people are able to work from home. So and there is a lot of pressure. Okay, so they need to make a lot of contingency arrangement as well. Most recently, you might have heard that people are resigning en masse from companies. Okay, and then pressure is there on HR to recruit more and more people. So a lot of things are happening. You must have heard concepts like moonlighting, right? Quiet quitting, resignations on a mass basis happening in many sectors. Okay, so this is creating a lot of problem. And ultimately, when people are leaving, what will happen? So, because for any organization, people is the most important asset for any organization, be a academic, be a hospital, because doctors are important, or for any say manufacturing or service organizations. So we need to make sure that how HR is going to behave itself in the future. If you look at this, you can see the environment is the most important thing. The context, because it is going to provide you context that what kind of environment you are operating, how uncertain or certain your environment is, and accordingly you talk about what kind of strategy you are going to have to deal with the competition, to focus their priorities on safeguarding the experience and well-being of the employees, how to make them happy and satisfied, that is more important. Developing skills for remote working, so you know that kind of digital transformation that is required, okay, and how HR is going to help ensure that digital transformation. For their behavior, then you are going to make sure that these environmental and social considerations, and then based on that you can develop an action plan and measure it to see that how the extent to which HR is able to contribute to organizational sustainability. Okay. These are some of the preconditions. These are issues that you have to follow, say compliance, labor law issues, regulations from the government, and ethical issues. These are very important, especially to create a corporate social leadership and strategy which leads to, and out of which where HR can contribute. See, like you have HR1, HR2, HR3, so there are 11 issues, out of which 8 issues are there, where 8 indicators are there, where which is very, very relevant to HR. Similarly, for labor practices, almost all of them are important. Okay. So these GRI initiatives, and some of them are very, very important. At least out of 84, 26 are directly related to HRM, and that is where HR can really contribute. Now, if you look at the materiality index, this is one example that I have taken, that needs for HR stakeholders and HR contribution to sustainable business practices. So if you look at this, you can find out how they are going to contribute. They need to reduce HR cost, make sure that it is a part of the HR policies, okay, how they communicate, whether the employees are happy and satisfied. Okay. So all kind of these activities basically contribute to sustainable business, and that is where HR plays a very important role. And you also need to ensure that HR policies are in line with sustainability principles. Follow equal employment opportunity policies, okay, the recruitment, remuneration, right, all kind of things that HR people do. Okay. And that is where you are going to ensure that HR policies are actually aligned with sustainability principles. HR is going to contribute to sustainable business practices. If you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, I am going to stop it. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Thank you. I think this is available. You can. Thank you.
Okay, now moving on to the first presentation of our technical session. The first paper will be presented by Professor Sriparna Bhattacharya, which is co-written by Anirban Kole. So, ma'am, I would request you to come, sir.
Good evening, everyone present over here. Today's my paper is on the mediating effect of the human resource management practices on the relationship between supply chain management and firm performance. And the study has been conducted in Kolkata on the sustainability of small and medium-sized enterprises. This is my presentation outline. Moving onwards. a brief introduction on the SMEs. As I know, the SMEs is the backbone of our economy, and like any other developing countries, India is also the SMEs is the backbone. Now, and it is a very vague concept, and the definition varies from across the industries, across the countries. So these are the parameters, the qualitative approach and the quantitative approach, where we can define the SMEs. So I am not going to deep in the definition part of the SMEs. Now moving onwards to the literature review part. So regarding the literature of the specific area, that the human resource and supply chain management or the supply chain performance. So as I have found out, the very few literature review in the Indian context, basically the quantitative study. The maximum study has been done in the qualitative, and whatever the quantitative study I have found out, that is done in the Thailand or in the Asian region. So I am not going to details and reading out the slides. So this is the background of the study. That is the industry, we are running in the industry 4.0, and in the time of globalization, SMEs plays a very crucial role, and we need to sustainable HR, because the workforce, as the sir also discussed, the many of our keynote speaker has been discussed, that we have to retain our employees. In the methodology part, these are the objectives of the study: to understand the role of the human resource management in the supply chain management, to understand the role of supply chain management in a firm's performance, and to explore how HR strategies can play a key mediating role in the firm supply chain management implementation and its performance. So first, let us see the hypothesis. This is the three null hypothesis has been written. The first one is correlation between SCM implementation and SMEs and their firm performance. And the second one, the correlation study between the HR practices to the SCM oriented SMEs and their firm performance. And the third one, that the mediation analysis to find out the mediation relationship.
It's an alternate hypothesis, because you have not used word null.
Yes, that is
It means that it is not going to mediate, right? But since you got the literature, why you are making null hypothesis? Why not alternate hypothesis? You have literature support,
yes.
Then why are you making null hypothesis? See, you say that SCM implementation is going to impact fund performance, and their data and literature available to that.
Available on that.
In other countries.
But very little data, little literature on the quantitative study is there.
So, why you are making a null hypothesis, not a alternate hypothesis? That yes, SCM implementation would be positively related to SME performance.
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
The 34% employees are 0 to 5 years. So please keep a note on that. Means there is a high trend of the employee leaving. That I want to mention over here only. Now this is the mean and standard deviation. This is the correlation analysis. While I have done the correlation analysis, I have found out the three of the significant correlation. So both of the null hypothesis is not accepted and the alternative hypothesis is accepted. So from the study that I have found out, the model, the SCM, the relationship has been diagrammatically represented, and from the model I have mentioned that the HRM practice can give the resource-based view. Resource-based view theory from the Berlin 1991, which will give the sustainable competitive advantage to the organization. Now the question, the implementation part, the how to ensure the sustained competitive advantage in the long run. So the company must use the VRIO framework. So management must recognize the value of the resources V is the value adding to the resources to neutralize the threats and exploit the opportunities from the environment. And R represent the rarity of the resources, rarity of the resource person among existing and potential competition. The third one, the expensiveness of the resources that is impossible to imitate. Means I represent the inimitable, and O represent the resource used by the company, or the company organized in a way that allows efficient usage of the resources. This is a theoretical implication and practical implication. Yes. This is the end, the limitations and future scope of research.
Thank you. Good. Framework is good, but you need to do some homework. See, most of our hypotheses have been accepted. Null hypothesis is rejected. So when you are making hypothesis, based on your literature, make alternate hypothesis. Second, when you are talking about the model, this supply chain management implementation, go to the model, yes. Who is going to implement supply chain in SMEs? It is the people, right?
Yes, the people.
Human resources. So that is one thing. But you are talking about HRM practices, na?
HRM practices, the
adopted by the organization.
Yes, sir. The tool that I have just, I am going back to the questionnaire part. Here the HRM practices tool, the 14-item instrument it was, and the tool was, the main construct was on training and development, teamwork, evaluation and reward system. And it was adapted from four scales.
Accompanied towards the idea of bioshaming. Now bioshaming is not an idea itself, but this is the term that I have used here. In his book Remnants of Auschwitz, Giorgio Agamben argued that the hidden structure of subjectivity is shame. Now shaming is something if a certain person is not being sustainable in the eyes of others. For example, he is not posting pictures on Instagram that he is using certain, or she is using certain sustainable products, so-called sustainable products. He is being shamed or she is being shamed. One is definitely not going to go the other way that their peers or friends are not going towards. So sustainability of bioshaming is basically what today you may see that there is a cancel culture over Twitter. If I am not saying what they are saying, then I am in a risk of being cancelled. So this is how bioshaming works. For example, Coca-Cola is selling plastic bottles in India, but on the other hand, they are using bottles made from paper in other countries. Now these two can go hand in hand, and that is what bioshaming works. Bioshaming is in India, you cannot bioshame people for using plastic. A certain person cannot be bioshamed here because plastic is a part of our life. But the same is not applicable in Canada because they already have phased out plastic in a lot of ways. So this is my research, and I have used the ideas of Foucault and Agamben as my literary sources, and the idea of Simon, the researches of Global Sustainability Study 2021 of Simon Butcher and Partners and Hugo Degaert's researches are used here for taking the data inputs. Thank you.
So that's in Indian context?
So it is possible, but the research...
You have not heard about it maybe?
No sir, I have heard about it, and there are some researches, but the data is not good enough for me to research. Thank you.
Alright, we have with us Atiba Batul to present her next paper. Over to you.
Greetings of the day to everyone present here. By taking the blessings of the Almighty and with due permission from the moderators of the session, I present to you my topic for today, which is a systematic review on sustainable trends and practices in social sciences research and exploration of secondary sources, which is prepared by me, Atiba Batul, a PhD research scholar from Amity University, Kolkata, which is prepared under the guidance of Dr. Kiadas Ghosh, the head of institution of Amity College of Commerce and Finance, Kolkata, and Dr. Swapnamoy Palit, assistant professor from Keech University, Orissa. With the concept of sustainability, I, on the other hand, would like to begin with some significant global events on sustainability which consists of, as you can see from the diagram, a decade of international conferences and reports that have talked about sustainability, beginning right from the year 1972, the reports, the Limit to Growth report that was by the Club of Rome, then the United Nations Conference in the same year, to the creation of 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, planet, which refers to environment, people, which refers to society, and profit, which refers to economics. However, this represents the framework for sustainable development. And what is sustainable development? Sustainable development is the sweet spot where the needs of people, planet, profit, which means the society, the environment and the economic needs can be met all at the same time without neglecting one another. And interestingly, if people and planet are taken care of, profits will be achieved. That is what is the main subject matter of sustainable development. Moving on, more recently, the concept of sustainability has been expanded to include cultural, technological and political domains as well, where the socio-cultural ensures that the personal and cultural rights of the human beings are respected and all people are protected from discrimination. The public policy refers to the political domain where we want to make the system more inclusive through public policy, and technological domain ensures innovation that deals with how to interact between or how to create the interaction between planet, people and the disruptive economy. That my study made was here to identify the research gap. Few of them, not everything can be put into limited slides. So few of them I've mentioned here. One can be, we all can see the first one, the hot topic, sustainable tourism, sustainable finance, sustainable marketing, sustainable consumer behavior. All these have been the hot topics till now. That's more emerging. And however, for education for sustainability is still a core topic, because if we all remember, 34 years before the last national education policy came, 34 years later, the national education policy came in 2020. And therefore, we still have scope for education, sustainable education, or rather education for sustainability scope that other researchers can develop their sustainable research work on. Lastly, there are many of the research gaps that has been identified. One such has already been presented here in just before me, the paper. That's all. Thank you.
You made a very good presentation.
Thank you, sir.
And what next?
What's next? I have references.
No. What next you are going to do after the literature review?
After literature review, since research gaps are identified, now we are going to bridge them up.
So are you going to take all of them or
No, so one such research gap that I have identified and I am actually working on it.
Which one?
I have taken slums, urbanization, their inclusiveness towards education.
Okay. And then related to sustainability?
Sustainability. Thank you, sir.
The next paper presentation is presented. Do we have any questions from the audience? One has.
What areas do you think have scope empirical analysis based on your research gap identification?
Can you please repeat?
What areas do you think have scope empirical analysis based on your
empirical analysis.
based on your identification gap?
Okay. So based on the identification of research gaps that I have made here, for empirical analysis, as I just shared with sir, that I have myself taken slums, urbanization. I'm working on them, and therefore that's because that's based on primary data, and hence that's empirical analysis. There's huge room for slum dwellers, and their financial inclusion can be one, because when we are talking about sustainable financial inclusion rather, So sustainable finance is just not the case for people who are living in slum areas, right? So therefore we can also undertake primary research there and therefore convert our paper into one such empirical analysis paper. For now I can give you two such empirical analysis areas as examples.
From the audience? Moving on to the next paper presentation, we have Mr. Tanmay Majumdar to present his paper, which is co-authored by Professor Atindra Mukherjee and Vijay Kumar Sharma.
Hello. Good evening, everyone, all dignitaries and chair, honorable chair, and all the beloved students present over here. Today, my presentation topic is social stock exchange, its relevance in the social financing in India. So it is basically written by three authors. So myself, Tanmay Majumdar, I am basically from GIS University. Another co-author is Vijay Kumar Sharma. He is also the assistant professor of IMS Unison Dehradun. And another co-author is Atindra Mukherjee. He is actually very familiar to you. He is the assistant professor of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. So this social stock exchange, it is actually a very emerging concept and very new concept. So basically this research topic is based on the secondary sources of data. So it is basically my qualitative research. And this concept is still not implemented in our India. So it is proposed to be implemented in the year 2023, June onwards, declared by SEBI. So moving on to the first slide. So here, first we have to know what is social stock exchange. So it is a particular which act in link between the social enterprise and the impact investor. Basically here we actually know the ACG model or the framework, that the societal, environmentals and the governance. So social development is very much important, but the thing is that the monetary sources are more important to regulate and it should be governed properly. So here the concept is that most of the organizations, the reputed organizations, they are basically contribute so many funds for the development of the society, for the sustainable growth. But the thing is that it is still not regulated by the SEBI. So one particular governance is very much required for that. So that particular, from there, that particular social stock exchange is basically derived, and it is first derived in the country Brazil, and followed by the United Nations, Jamaica, Indonesia, and so many other countries we have seen. They basically followed this particular emerging concept where basically all the organizations are accumulated their fund by a particular governance, and it should be utilized for the sustainable growth. That it should be properly utilized and it should be regulated properly for the development of the society, for the development of the sustainable growth. So here a particular data we have got from the Security Exchange Board of India. So it is actually given social enterprise is basically divided into two particular variable, like retail investors, like the philanthropists are basically investing so many money for the social activity, and similarly so many companies we are basically getting, they are also investing money for the social development, but it should be regulated by Security Exchange Board of India. Still it is not regulated properly or governed properly. So we will basically come into this model so that we can get the proper idea that how we can regulate and how we can basically utilize this money through the proper channel and utilize in the social development. Okay, so many slide is basically secondary sources data we have basically given over here. It's not possible to show the in a stipulated time. So the particular sources, the security, equity and debt is basically where we have found after conducting or reading the so many review of literatures. So came to the conclusion that that part we are basically going to tell one thing, that the social stock exchange is actually the emerging concept. Still India is not followed that particular concept, but other countries still start that particular concept, and they are basically implemented in their country and brought us huge results. So followed by the other countries, India Security Exchange Board of India is basically declared that particular implementation of these policies. We hope from 2023 June onwards, we will be getting that particular concept. So thank you. That's it.
How we can apply it in Indian context and world context?
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just bear some more minutes. I can understand. Okay. So my topic is a little bit far away from today's theme, like sustainability. Yes, of course I can relate it with the topic any point of time, and I relate it at the last, right? So this is actually my research area. I'm continuing in this research area in the last 4-5 years. So I thought it would be a great thing to do with that. So my topic is the study on the impact of social media influencers' reputation components on consumer online conformity. It is investigating the mediating role of informational influence, right? So I think all of you know what is who is a social media influencer. If anybody can answer, can you answer? Social media influencer. Okay. So basically, these are the celebrities which are non-traditional celebrities. I mean to say celebrities not from Bollywood, Tollywood, or any other established domains. These are the celebrities which are basically famous into social media for their comment, post, and by the number of followers they have. Right? They are called social media influencers, and when they endorse or when they talk about certain product and the services, people listen to them, and definitely that listening will help us or those people for the purchase, for their purchase journey, or taking the decisions from their purchase. That's the influencing part, right? It has been proven by Humanities and Inmanagement et al. In 2021 in this paper. The next one is brands. Why do brands hire SMIs? Brands hire SMIs because they can establish some trends, they can connect with the consumers, and inspire their followers to purchase the product. It's a concept where some people or some customers, they do think that knowledge about the product and the services, and they are in a greater position to give people. Direct effect is not significant, but the indirect effect. That means when we rooted through the informational influence and tested the relationship between the social media celebrity component to online conformity through informational influence, that is the proponent in H1, it is found. It is indirect effect is significant, but a direct effect is not significant, right? In H2 also, we have run the CFE, and these are the results. CFI is again 0.980, which is very close to 1. This RMCI 0.085, which is a moderately fit model, and CFI is again 0.971. Again, here also there is a slight difference. Here, direct and indirect both effects are significant. That means in H2, mediation and direct effect both are present. But in earlier case, only mediation was present. And both the mediations are partial in nature because the effect size is low. Conclusions: the work is a study of consumer decision making and the role of social media influencer in various decision making parameters. Theoretical implication of the study may be creating valuable propositions in the literature gaps on the body of knowledge of social media influencer and the mediating roles and the connect to consumer decision. This area is being enriched bit by this research. Practical implications may include more improved practice in digital endorsement, influencer marketing, digital marketing practices, etc. These are certain differences. Thank you all for the patience listening. Let's have Q&A. Sir, over to you. Next one.
When you are saying that direct effect is not significant, indirect effect is significant.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it because of the variable that mediating variable that it has become significant?
Sir,
I
expert
just confounded with the direct variable, the independent variable.
Yes, it is for the informational influence. It is impacting the relation, and it's a partial mediation. But when we are doing some regression, linear regression, SMI to OC, that is not being found significant.
But in mediation, what actually happens? We have to see that all the three paths are significant.
But here,
But in the direct and then indirect,
maybe some issues in data also.
so you just check it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to check.
That is very important.
Yes. Notice. Thank you.
Here, and I am Dr. Maiti. Here, Maiti. I am going to present one of my PhD extension paper. Actually, I did my PhD on primary agriculture credit society. As you know, in the Bengali name, Sombai Sonati, how they are working with the village area. As we know, in the village area, tax work as a backbone of financial institutions. And I did one primary data survey job for them, how they are working, how they are managing their finance. I have applied here one very known model, that is multi-objective fuzzy nonlinear goal programming. Why I am applying this? First, I am just giving the brief of this particular model, this modeling. Fuzzy model is nothing but the optimization technique where we can do two things at a time. One is called linear relationship and another is called non-linear relationship. Here we are using two types of function. One is called profit function. Here we are using profit of a tax depends upon non-performing asset. Just go next. Okay, just look this particular slide. Here we are using four variables. Profit per employees as a dependent variable. Rate of growth of non-performing assets is independent variable. Rate of growth of customers. Rate of growth of macro environmental compulsions. These four variables, we are trying to address the issue of how the profit per employees is affected by these three variables. Here we are using more than 7 variables, but for this research we are using only three variables. As per the economics concept, we know this NPA always has a negative impact on profit, and the growth of customer has positive impact, and also the growth of macro environment compulsions may have some positive, may have some negative impact. That number one. Number two is that the measurement of this profit throughout the years has some variability. The variability can be tested by the variance. That's why variance is non-linear relationship, but the profit is the linear relationship. That's why I have to use the fuzzy optimization fuzzy model. Go to the next slide. This is the two objective function where we are trying to find out the maximum profit, which is our target variable, and also same time we are trying to minimize the variance. As we know, if we able to minimize the variance and maximize the profit, then both objectives can be sustained for the future. Different weights for different optimization function, where when we are using W1 as 80%, W2 is 20%, we are having profit maximization, whereas variance minimization but profit not maximization. And when we are using weight W1 0.2, W2 0.8, where profit is maximum and variance is also maximum. So we are having some contradictions each other, this model. That's why, next slide, we have to be identify these two options. Either we can go 80% of W1 and 2% of 20% of W2, or 2% of W1, 80% of W2. That is the main objective of the policymaker, whether they have to be think about the variance or they have to be think about the profit. And their weight is already designed. They can choose any one. Better, as a research scholar, I can say they have to be made a mixed combination of them both. They can achieve the goal. That's the thing. Thank you, sir. Well, the huge number of data that can be directly used by OR software. But
It's
it is not
secondary data, right?
No, not private data. I did the survey. Yeah, I went there. That's individually. I found out the data for my PhD thesis. That's why I applied this.
Thank you.
Okay. Next question.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay. Now I would request Sinha sir to come here and deliver some
Yeah, so we have come to the end of technical session 2. I would take the privilege to thank Professor KBL Srivastava, who came over all the way from Kharagpur and being here and had a lot of present hearing and has given a lot of suggestions which we all can improve. We can all take that suggestion and improve. So thank you very much, sir. And I thank Professor S.C. Jaina also, who was listening all through. I thank faculties, and more importantly, I thank all my students here who has given their patient hearing to all the papers that has been taken. Thank you.
Ritik Golui. Next, Atiba Badul. May we have Professor Atindra Mukherjee. Professor Tanmay Mojumdar. Professor Bishwarup Chatterjee. Dr. Biman Maiti.
With that, we will call all of the for today. We are coming tomorrow by 9:30. All report by 9:30 tomorrow. Okay, everybody. Okay. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you, sir.